How are you doing, trappers? Happy Labor Day weekend in 2020. I did a video about this on Facebook, and but I thought I'd do something a little more permanent. YouTube people have a tendency to want to go through and look at some different stuff, and what I want to talk about is a different tool to use as a grab and die, and it works awesome. And let me go ahead and so what we want to do in this case is it's the use of a soaker hose. Many of us have old soaker hoses that are broken, and really they're kind of laying in the back of the garage or barn or whatever. Or our plans have changed and we're no longer using it. Soaker hoses are great because they hold odors very well. You put a lure on them and stuff, it'll soak into the soaker hose and give that good scent out there. And the way I use this is taking a hardwood stake and throw that one on down. But just taking a hardwood stake, just like I was showing in another video of making a grab and die. And basically we got one end that's cut at an angle and the other end is flush. And we can take our soaker hose, and let me go ahead and cut this. So now we got our soaker hose, and I left a little bit of a lip out here on the edge, so this way it can hold the lure. The other thing is you can push it in, and this way when you hammer it in, it'll flatten out, make that soaker hose that much harder to come off of. I will come on around here and take a look at, this is a typical erosion bank dirt hole set. Now in this case, your trap would be right in this zone, right? This is the typical deal. Basically, I take the back end of my hammer and I cut out a little groove here to make it a little harder for the coyotes to get into. And then basically I'm just pounding my peg right into the side. I can put my food lure, put any kind of a lure you want, but I like food lures on these types of sets. And that's what I'm asking for. And the coyote, they'll come around, and what's nice is, especially when you're in really hard ground and stuff, sometimes drilling a dirt hole is not easy to do. Sometimes, especially out west, where rains do not come easy. And what will happen is you'll end up really struggling at your bits, but sometimes you can go ahead and still pound in a peg, and having this soaker hose on there will hold the lure. It's a good lure holder. It works fabulous. You can also turn that around, and for like your pipe dream type sets or whatever, you can still hammer this right into your clump of grass, and you have the same advantage on something like that. Soaker hoses was something I learned from Craig years and years ago. It's a good tool on the trap line. You can use it in a variety of ways, but without a doubt, it was designed to allow moisture to flow in and out of this tubing. So it's a fabulous tool on the trap line. It's a tip for you, especially for you guys that have rocky ground or dealing with, it's a good place when you're using drags and you're trying to somehow get an odor out there. And food odors, again, have a tendency to want to be a little bit on the milder side. So getting those odors up in the air allows the air currents to transfer and get to the coyote and help get them into your set. So anyway, that's a tip I offer you on this Labor Day. And we got another tip coming right on up. This is my sweet corn patch, but for the example we're giving today, I want to talk about trail setting coyotes in a cornfield scenario. We have a 30-inch row, as is common in corn. Sometimes you're getting down to 20 inches, but the point is that a 30-inch row offers an awful lot of area for a coyote to maneuver. So generally you would think they would normally walk down the middle of it, and that would be true in most cases. But you got to look at trail setting of coyotes. It is very possible even in corn country. Providing you know that the farmer is not going to be tilling up his crop. Normally what we get into, of course, in a field corn scenario, you would have the stalks stripped down to about that level there, and they'd be much shorter. that being said, you can turn right around, and when you find a track in a cornfield row, I suggest that you walk the road down until you find, and go and come on in here a little bit, until you find an area where you have a bent over stalk. This turns right around and takes a 30-inch row down to about 8.5 inches. It's really ideal for us to put in a set in something like that. The row's already narrowed down. It's already guided for us. We could do it as a blind trail set. I like using it as a scent post type of a set. I would go ahead and scrape my dirt and get this all gathered up, bed my trap right here, smear my gland lure right about this level right there, and I can add some scat out here in the trail one way or the other. I generally like to put the scat on the upwind side, so in this case at my place the wind is coming to me. So basically I'm going to go ahead and put the scat right up here, and I'll put some urine on it. I'll put a little urine here down low and some gland lure. It's a fabulous trail set that you can use in corn country. If you got a coyote track running down row 2 or row 6 or row 20, it's a good chance that coyote will be back. It's a perfect ambush type of set. The thing about it is you just don't really get refusals here. This coyote is moving in a straight line right on top of your trap. So we're going to catch this coyote. It's suicide, really. You'll see that these types of sets are highly productive. Now, Ed, what happens if I'm not seeing it? Let's just say that it's perfect out and I don't have this. If we come back just a hair more, this is another obstacle for us to look at. And you see we got this greenery right here. It's not much, but if I clean this up right here and made this area more of the walking trail and set this, and this is common also in flat sets, is natural guiding. It just doesn't get any more natural than this. And so you basically clean this area up, and this applies a lot in soybean fields and different kind of trails. We got coyotes coming down here. What I'll do is I'll try to find a projection that is sticking out, that the coyote is likely not to be walking. He'll just gravitate over here to the side. It's a fabulous type of a set as an ambush. And how would I lure that? Well, I just go ahead right down here in the crown and smear my gland lure down low, 8 to 10 inches back from my pan center. Put my scat, again, the wind is coming this way, so I'm going to put my scat right there on the upwind side, about 10 inches pan center, so 10 and 10. It's a fabulous set, even if you don't have the bent over stalk or whatever. These are different ways to try to make a trail out of unusual trails. I think these tips will help you well on this Labor Day weekend as we are getting prepared. I know I've sold a lot of dye, a lot of wax. I know guys are getting ready, and I'm ready to get going myself. So we're getting closer to our trapping season. Thank you all for supporting me, and I appreciate all the nice comments about the videos. I try my best to give you good content with good common sense methods. So until we meet, trappers, tight chains. One of the fun things to do with trapping is to take the lures we just bought, and if you've never used it before, give it a test with your own dogs. Now, believe me when I say this, a dog and a coyote are not the same. These are house pets. I totally understand that. But in this case, I got a coyote call lure. It's a test that I've been doing, and that's what this label indicates. And it's got a hint of skunk to it. So the point is I already know that if I lay it out on top of the ground, they want to roll in it and stuff. So now I want to see, and this is my positive attraction food lure. I know already from my earlier tests that my dogs will they'll pick up the scent and they'll come in. And this is just the preliminary kind of a thing. And then I got my proven positive attraction of food odor. So if they want to roll in it, I want to know what they're going to do when the way I would do it is I'm going to do a double punch hole in this case. I'm going to put just a minute amount, and I'll show you that, of the call lure. And then I'm also going to use a minute amount in a second hole as my food odor to hold their attention. I'm just curious to see how the animals react. I mean, that's part of it. That's phase one. I mean, I'm developing this lure and I want to know what it does long before I ever take it out into the field. If I can look at a canine's reaction, I got a little bit of a heads up kind of what I'm going to see. And then we're going to go to video footage and things like that. I need to film actual coyotes on the trap line and see how they react. But something we can do with our own family pet is we can go and see how they react. How far is it? I don't really have any wind tonight, just a little bit coming at my back. Let me show you how I'm going to set this up, just as if we would have a trap there. So anyway, of course I'm on my asparagus here, but I'm going to go ahead and poke in a hole right there. And as if I had a trap right there, I'll go ahead and poke a hole in this way, kind of like the Don Diggerhoof double punch hole. So I'm going to do a test of my call lure, and I'm just using a stick is all I'm using here, folks, just a little bit. And again, there's my coyote test lure, and I want to see how they react on it. So let me go ahead, and this is a semi-liquidy kind of a lure, and you see I'm just using enough that's actually sticking to it. And I'm going to set that in the hole, and if you notice, the stick's kind of just right there. It's not real deep. So now I don't want to set this down, give them somewhere else to smell. And so I'm going to use my positive attraction food odor. And I already know that this is a grab and bite type of a food odor. But I want to see how the animals, and again, I'm just using a little bit. More is not better. This is the same as I would do during the trapping season. I'm going to set that in that hole. So now I'm going to go ahead and we'll take a second as I go get the dogs, and we'll turn the camera back on. And we'll watch and see the reaction of the dogs. We'll just see what happens here. They may choose to still roll on it. I don't know. We're going to find out. So I already know the call lure is calling them from a good distance. That part I'm not concerned about. I've already tested that, and I've had it on top of the ground. I kind of smeared it down the ground a little earlier. And the first, I mean, he came into it like he pulled on a string. The problem I had, and this is a different dog, the problem I have with it is that I'm not going to set it there, right? So I'm going to set it probably in places like this, dirt hole sets and stuff. But I need a food, and I want to watch the reaction. Can this still call them in? And how far can they call in? And this will happen multiple times, not every day. I'm going to do it occasionally here until trapping season gets going, and then I'll actually start testing it for real on real coyotes and that type of thing. But for the purposes of it, I want to see the reaction of my pets before they ever go out in the field. Do I have the formula halfway right? I'm real excited about what I got here, but I want to see the canine's reaction. Okay. Let me get up here and release my O'Gorman Dorn Dog. We'll see what he does. And there he goes. We're about 100 yards or so from the actual deal. About 100 yards. We'll see if we can. It's not much wind tonight. Him just getting let out, he'll probably run a good ways. Oh, there he is. He's already up there. Yeah. Well, let's see what happens over here. It is dead calm. It's a good time to see what happens, see if the odor permeates into the air. Our test is right there at the corner, and we'll see what he does. He's over here. He's a good ways off. He's right around the tree, over by the pumpkins. He found, that's where I tested Actually, that's where I tested earlier on a dog to lay down. So see how he's kicking back if you can? He's doing a nice kick back. That's where I tested with my other dog earlier. And he's showing a lot of interest on that call lure. Got his head buried into it. He urinated on it. I mean, the other dog already rolled in it. And he's just even going to go take a shit right there. And that there was already licked and rolled upon. And so we got ourselves a new scent. Let's get him over this way and see what happens. See if he's zoomed right on down. Look at him. He's close. He's figuring it out. He's figuring it out. So his nose is he's right in it. Now he's finding the food. He's over there smelling the call lure. What's his reaction going to be? I mean, this is the first time he's done it. Going to urinate on it. That's not bad. Look how many feet he had down when he did that. And again, we're getting kickbacks again away from it. But ate the food, which I knew he would, and on that one. But the call lure, now you get the rolling reaction. You know, these are all things he did. But the important thing is he didn't want to roll until he got into the set. And let's see what he did here. Get a little closer. And you see he kind of dug back. Whoop. Sorry. I'm going the wrong way. He is kind of digging back right there. And to find that. So not a bad test at all. And walked right through it and spent a long time on it, and I think we got a pretty happy dog, and I'm pretty happy with it as well. So anyway, I think it was a good test. I mean, once he got the scent, in this case, the way he was running, I'd say he wasn't, I mean, it's just the way he came in on it, but he wasn't probably more than, 10, 12 feet from the actual spot where I saw him turn his head. And but anyway, you know, he came in, and you know, that type of odor is not exactly the loudest as far as the as far as the food call, and the other call. I mean, it was great. It was great watching him come in. He wanted to. He went to both holes, sniffed it, urinated on it, and I think we're around close to 80 degrees right now, and so that's a good desirable reaction, I think, especially as warm as it is. So certainly a guy could put this lure up a little higher, have it catch a little more air currents, but I like it. I like the way the dog reacted. So it's time to start testing some coyotes right now.